this, that onto this planet there's a great deal of dumping has gone on. Stuff from the nearby galaxy. Not this galaxy, but the next galaxy over, and so forth has gone on here. I know they take political prisoners and guys who they don't want around. But it's less personal than you think. They just have excess population, so they start to get rid of their excess population. You see, they've got a revolt, or you're on the wrong side of a war, or something like that, and they pick you up in droves and ice cube you and throw you into a sea someplace. I know this planet has been subjected to that, and several planets in this immediate end of this galaxy have been subjected to that. That I know.
They were imported. They were actually... The trick was to shoot somebody, disable somebody, very often a needle into a lung, and at the same time to hit him with frozen alcohol and glycol, which preparation is guaranteed to pick up a Satan. All they had to do was pick him up and put him in a refrigerator, and they had him, boy. Just as he tried to exteriorize from the body, there he was, frozen. And they threw him into collection points, boxed them up in boxes, threw them into space planes, which are the exact DC-8. The DC-8 airplane is the exact copy of the space plane of that day. And no difference, except the DC-8 had fans, propellers on it, and the space plane didn't.
Well, it starts like this. It starts like this. I was up in the Van Allen belt. This is factual. And I don't know why they're scared of the Van Allen belt, because it's simply hot. You'd be surprised how warm space is. Down amongst the clouds and so forth, it can get pretty cold and damp. But you get well up and sunlight shining around, that sort of thing. It's quite hot. And the Van Allen belt was radioactively hot. A lot of photons get trapped in that area and so forth. And I was up there watching the sunrise. Well, that was very interesting, and my perception was very good, and I was taking a look at Norway and Essex and the places around, you know, and getting myself sort of oriented. And then something happened to me that I didn't know quite what had happened to me. I thought some facsimiles must have appeared in front of me, but they didn't look like facsimiles. And some other things happened, and I had a feeling like I might possibly go into the sun, and a few other little uncomfortablenesses there were, that wasn't what awed me. But I got confused. I got confused because the sun was suddenly larger, and then it was smaller. And somehow or another, I was doing a change of space process that I myself was not familiar with. And it made me sort of bite off my Thetan fingernails just a little bit, you know.
There are saucer crews here. There's all sorts of things on Earth here from the 5th Invader Force. Very interesting. This is directly and violently in opposition to the 4th Invader Force. And the 5th Invader Force, out of its own protection, took over Venus. All relatively modern times. Took over Venus and tried to stabilize the Venusian. If you called a 5th invader, though, a Venusian, he would probably shoot you out of hand, because it would be a horrible insult. They merely monitor the government of Venus. And they leave Mars strictly alone. Now, this is really roughly a rundown of the, quote, political situation in the solar system.
The entirety of Roman Catholicism, the devil, all this sort of thing, that is all part of our sexes.
Mary Sue gave the cue on this thing. She said, look at how hard they have to work to keep you from being OT. Hey, now, that's quite a thought. Isn't that quite a thought? Now, you look at this. You look at this now. The complete idiocy of it. Somebody sits up on Venus. There are probably some other stations around up in the system. This one's on Venus. I notice that we all believe that Venus has a methane atmosphere and is unlivable. I almost got run down by a freight locomotive the other day. Didn't look very uncivilized to me. I'm allergic to freight locomotives. They always running into you.
not really interested in Earth at all as such. Because Earth is a heavy gravity planet. And who the hell wants a heavy gravity planet? Earth would be much better off lying in chunks in an orbit around the sun. But naturally, that's a pretty rough assignment, blowing up something this size and putting it around, so nobody would do that. But completely aside from that fact, Earth has been used consistently as a prison. And it is a prison, and it is heavily screened. There are installations in Mongolia, there are installations in the Pyrenees here on Earth, there are installations down the mountains of the moon in Africa, which pick up very often people on death.
Actually, have you ever noticed how a Negro in particular, down south where they're pretty close to the soil, personifies mess? The gate post and the wagon and the whip and anything around there, a hat. Hey, they talk to him, you know. What's the matter with you, hat? They imbued them with personality.
There is the low-level part of the technique, which consists of A, R, C on each dynamic. And you can carefully plot up and pick up A, R, C on each part of every dynamic. And go over that carefully through the line till you will key out or partly disintegrate out each and every bar there is to your state of beingness. But this is done as a present-time technique. And Technique 80 is 100% a present-time technique. Its capability is to bring you up to a level where, while still in a body, you are capable of being and experiencing with every part of the universe while you're still in that body. That's 80.
Now, blindness is just getting these two groups of attention units off to the side so they can't see through the optic nerve. That's hysterical blindness. Nothing much to it. If you're going to resolve a case of blindness, just get them to run the attention units, which should be standing behind the optic nerve, and then find what they did about seeing. By the way, blind men usually have burned somebody down with sight, or think they have. Fascinating. And they'll never suspect this one. And you ask them about this, it'll show up on the E-meter, you start to run it. Boy, do they protest. But if you run it, their sight should turn on.